High in the quiet mountains, where the morning mist moved slowly over the hills, there lived a Zen master who was known for his calm presence and gentle wisdom. People often came to him with questions, but one day, a young woman arrived with something much deeper than a question. Her eyes were red from crying, and her steps were unsteady. She held a small cloth in her hands as if it were the most precious thing in the world. She bowed before the Zen master and spoke in a trembling voice. "Master, my child is gone. I cannot accept it. Please, you must help me bring him back." The master looked at her with deep kindness. He did not rush to answer. "I hear your pain," he said softly, "and I will help you. But first, you must do something for me." The woman quickly nodded. "I will do anything." The master said, "Go into the village and bring me a handful of mustard seeds, but they must come from a house where no one has ever known loss." The woman's eyes filled with hope. "Yes, master, I will find them." She hurried down the mountain and reached the first house. She knocked on the door. A kind old woman opened it. "I need mustard seeds," the young woman said, "but they must come from a home where no one has ever lost a loved one." The old woman's face softened. "My child," she said gently, "we have mustard seeds, but we have also known loss. My husband passed away many years ago." The young woman stepped back slowly. She went to another house. A man opened the door. She asked the same question. He looked down and said, "We lost our daughter last winter." The woman felt a quiet heaviness in her chest. Still, she did not give up. She went to another house and another and another. At each door, people listened to her, and then shared their own stories. Some had lost parents, some had lost children, some had lost friends. Every home had mustard seeds, but no home was free from loss. As the sun began to set, the young woman sat alone by the side of the road. The village, which once felt full of strangers, now felt full of shared sorrow. She looked at her empty hands, and slowly, something inside her began to change. She was no longer running, she was no longer searching. She was simply sitting and feeling. The pain was still there, but it was softer now. It was no longer only hers. It was something all people carried in their own way. That night, she returned to the monastery. The master was sitting quietly under a tree. She walked up to him and bowed, but this time her movements were calm. "I could not find a single house without loss," she said. The master nodded gently. "Yes," he said, "this is the way of life." The woman sat down beside him. For a while, neither of them spoke. The wind moved softly through the trees. "I thought my pain was the greatest," she said slowly, "but now I see everyone carries their own sorrow." The master looked at her with quiet understanding. "And what have you learned?" he asked. She took a deep breath. "I cannot bring back what is gone," she said, "but I can learn to live with what remains." The master smiled. "Grief does not leave quickly," he said, "but when you stop fighting it, it begins to soften." The woman closed her eyes. For the first time since her loss, her breath felt steady. Her heart still ached, but it was no longer breaking. She placed the small cloth gently beside her. She was not holding it tightly anymore. Days passed, and she stayed at the monastery. She helped in small ways. She sat in silence. She watched the sunrise and the falling leaves, and slowly, without forcing it, her pain began to change. It did not disappear, but it became something she could carry with care, not with resistance. Before she left, she bowed to the master one last time. "Thank you," she said. The master nodded. "You have not lost love," he said. "You have only changed how you hold it." She smiled gently. And as she walked down the mountain, her steps were lighter, because she understood something simple, yet deep, that loss is a part of life, and when we accept it, the mind becomes quiet enough to see the truth that was always there. And if you sit with this story for a moment, you can almost imagine how a great teacher might have shared it with those who gathered around him in silence, not as a lesson to be memorized, but as something to be felt. Because the mustard seeds were never really the point. They were only a way to show something deeper. They represent the ordinary life we all share. Every home has them. just like every life carries both joy and loss. The woman believed her pain was unique, and that is something we all feel at times. When something breaks inside us, it feels like no one else could understand. But when she went from house to house, something quiet began to unfold. She started to see that loss is not a mistake in life. It is a part of it. Now take a slow breath in and gently breathe out. Think about something you've been holding on to. It could be a loss, or a regret, or a moment you wish had gone differently. Notice how tightly you are holding it. The woman was not healed because someone took her pain away. She was healed because she stopped resisting what had already happened. And that is where the shift begins. In our own lives, we often try to escape pain. We distract ourselves, we overthink, we search for answers that will remove the feeling. But sometimes, the path is not about removing the pain. It is about sitting with it, gently, without fighting it, without running from it, just breathing through it. Now take another slow breath. Feel your shoulders relax. You do not need to fix everything right now. You do not need to understand everything. You can simply allow what is there to be there. And slowly, like the woman in the story, something begins to soften. Acceptance does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop struggling against what cannot be changed. And in that quiet acceptance, peace begins to appear. Not all at once, but little by little, like the gentle fading of a long day into night.